shot. That is beautifully played. That's the first boundary for Fleming. Hit straight to a fielder. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Lee to begin a new spell. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. He's worked that into the gap. Astle is off the mark. Hayden sprinting along the boundary. Lee to bowl to Fleming. Stopped by Bevan. Fleming waiting at the striker's end. Hit straight to a fielder.
New Zealand will be looking to blast away from the start with fielding restrictions in place.
McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Fleming waiting at the striker's end. Short and smash for four. That takes him into double figures. Hit straight at Martin. .47 overs are left for New Zealand. Astle facing. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. It's in the air. That's the first boundary for Astle. Hit straight to a fielder. Lee to Astle. He didn't quite get hold of that one properly. Picked up by Hayden. Astle moves into double figures with those runs.
No!
46 overs are left for New Zealand. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over.
Right.
Stopped by Bevan. They have 46 overs to get. 319. So they need 319 to win from 274 balls. Play it away with comfort. The total is now no wicket for 21.
Waiting!
Hit straight at Gillespie. 318 runs required. McGrath continues.
Right.
It's in the air. He's timing the ball perfectly today.
Well, you can't afford to overpitch like that. 2 full and dispatched for 4.
That's the end of the 5th over. Lee to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here.
No!
Lee continues. That's gone high in the air. Gave that some fearful hammer.
Really good shot there. Nicely timed and picked the gap perfectly.
Up and over and 4 runs. That was perfectly struck.
It was a good shot, but the bowler shouldn't be bowling at him there.
Lee is back in the attack.
No! No!
Hit straight to a fielder.
New Zealand can't have hoped for a better start. The target's looking very reachable at this rate.
McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6.5 and over. They have 44 overs to get. 306.
Yes!
That's rolling towards the fence. It should be 4 runs. That was 4 the moment it left his bat.
Cracking shot. The secret there was that he got his feet into position early and had plenty of time to play the shot.
McGrath continues. That's straight up in the air. Astle has now moved into the 20s. Astle is now facing. Eight runs came from that over. We're about to see the first bowling change. Now the run rate stands at just over 6.5 and over. Stopped by Martin. There's a mix-up with the batsman. That was very tight, so the umpire's calling for the TV replay. They can't afford to go throwing away wickets. They have 43 overs to get to 9-8. He's worked that into the gap. Fleming has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. It's in the air. Warren had to make up a lot of ground there.
Excellent catch. The batsman can't believe he held on to that.
So then, that's the end of Astle. Franklin takes guard. 42 overs are left for New Zealand. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 7 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Bevan reaches it before it crosses the boundary. The score is now 1 for 44. McGrath at the start of his run-up. Turned off his hips. Beautiful shot. That's the first boundary for Franklin. So they need 290 to win from 249 balls. He looked as if he was home to me. Fleming waiting at the striker's end. That's gone high in the air. Had his eyes closed when he played that one.
He'll be pleased with that one. It came sweetly out of the middle of the bat.
41 overs are left for New Zealand. Gilchrist to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6.5 and over. Out. He's been caught.
That was a really good effort by the fielder. He did well to cling on to it.
Franklin goes for only 5. That one's gone to the fence. That's the first boundary for Vincent. There it goes. That really was a super shot.
There's a perfect example of how to play that shot. He deserved 4 runs for it.
Gilchrist to Vincent. That's too short, and it's been dispatched for 4. Vincent moves into double figures with those runs. That's the end of the 10th over. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6.5 and over. That's straight up in the air. That was a superb placement.
Fantastic shot there. He knew it was 4 as soon as he struck it.
It's high in the air. This batsman won't miss anything that's short.
The bowler needs to avoid giving away boundaries, so he must keep it tight.
McGrath to Fleming. Pushed into the gap. Picked up by Martin. New Zealand are 2 for 76. Hit straight at Bevan. It's in the air. Played that with superb timing.
That was a good shot. He saw it early and got into position quickly.
So there was 14 off that over. Gilchrist to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6.5 and over. A long hop and punish. He's timing the ball perfectly today.
Well, he really latched onto that ball quickly and struck a venomous square drive to the cover boundary.
He looked as if he was home to me. He's really given that a whack. 6 runs. He'll be looking for that ball for days.
The bowler doesn't look too happy about it. There might be a little bit more in the next one.
2 now for 91. Gilchrist continues. Stopped by Bevan. That's 11 off the over now. This over is proving to be quite expensive. Gilchrist at the start of his run-up. 11 runs came from that over for New Zealand. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6.5 and over. There it goes. Vincent has now moved into the 20s. Fleming waiting at the striker's end. McGrath continues. Fleming, he just runs that down to third man. Collected by Lee. You can enjoy this as he's had to work very hard for it. That's 50 for Fleming. That's racing away to the boundary. He certainly saw that one early.
That was a good shot. He saw it early and got into position quickly.
37 overs are left for New Zealand. Gillespie to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. I think he was easily back in the crease there. You'd beaten all ends up by that one. Vincent facing. Gillespie to Vincent. There it goes. Played with a beautifully straight bat.
The bowler didn't do too much wrong there. It was just an excellent shot.
That's straight up in the air. Vincent really takes advantage of anything over pitch.
Well, superb straight drive there. Good footwork, good hands, lovely straight swing of the bat.
36 overs are left in the innings. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6 and over. There it goes. Well, he's seeing it like a beach ball out there now.
He'll be pleased with that one. It came sweetly out of the middle of the bat.
McGrath is back in the attack. That's straight up in the air. He picked the length quickly with that one.
Well, that was just a long hop and it got the full treatment.
McGrath is back in the attack. It's in the air. Oh, he's dropped it.
That ball went miles in the air. I bet he didn't fancy that one at all.
219 runs required. Gillespie to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 6 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Gillespie to Vincent. Gillespie continues. It's in the air. That was perfectly struck.
Lovely front foot shot. Head over the ball, wrists in front of the bat as he played through the line.
Gillespie at the start of his run-up. The batsman will have to run these. There's a mix-up with the batsman. Gillespie continues. .34 overs are left for New Zealand. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. It's high in the air. Harvey to bowl to Vincent. Vincent facing. That's straight up in the air. Oh, he's put it down. 33 overs are left in the innings. Fleming is now facing. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. The fielder will cut that off. Hit straight to a fielder. It's high in the air. Gillespie only overpitched very slightly, but it was punished.
That was a gift for the batsman.
Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Fleming is now facing. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. 4 all the way. Well, that isn't the place to bowl at this batsman.
That was a wonderful shot. He looks in great shape out there.
Hit straight to a fielder. Harvey continues. The fielder will cut that off. Vincent is now on strike. Harvey to bowl to Vincent. He looked as if he was home to me. Fleming facing. The batsmen are after 2. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. That's straight up in the air. That was a very confident shot.
Cracking shot. The secret there was that he got his feet into position early and had plenty of time to play the shot.
That's straight up in the air. Beautifully played.
Well, that was much too short from the bowler. 4 runs.
Gillespie to bowl to Vincent. That's straight up in the air. These two have taken their partnership to 100. The batsmen are in trouble here. That's the end of the 20th over. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. Stopped by Lehman. There it goes. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Vincent is now on strike. He's going to have to move here. They can't afford to go throwing away wickets. 182 runs required. Stopped by Lehman. The batsman didn't look at all comfortable there.
Yes, good bowling there. Draw him forward and force him to play.
The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Pushed into the gap. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. The batsmen are coming back for 3. The batsmen are in trouble here. Now he needs to get his head down again and aim for the next landmark. Vincent has scored 50 off 30 balls. The batsman will have to be more careful now, having got away with that.
Now he needs to make sure he keeps concentrating to get his century.
The fielder will cut that off. Fleming waiting at the striker's end. That's over the infield and racing away for 4. Super shot by Fleming.
Lovely front foot shot. Head over the ball, wrists in front of the bat as he played through the line.
Turned off his hips. Vincent waiting at the striker's end. And well taken.
The fielder did well there. He made it look easy, but it was a difficult catch to take.
McMillan takes guard. Harvey to Fleming. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. Well, that's found the gap in the field. McMillan is now on strike. It's in the air. That's the first boundary for McMillan. That's gone high in the air. Super shot by McMillan.
Poor bowling. His captain won't be too happy with him after that delivery.
That's straight up in the air. That takes him into double figures. Harvey at the start of his run-up. Long hop and dispatch for 4. That really was excellent timing.
The bowler didn't do too much wrong there. It was just an excellent shot.
27 overs are left in the innings. Gillespie to bowl to Fleming. The run rate stands at just under 5.5 and over. He's taken the aerial route there. 4 runs. Fleming moves into the 90s. It's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. There's a mix-up with the batsman. Gillespie at the start of his run-up. Pushed into the gap. Oh, big shout for that one. The umpire raised his finger and he's out. Cairns awaits his first ball. It's straight to a fielder. "26 overs are left in the innings. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 5.5 and over. That's too short. 4 runs. That was a fantastic back foot shot.
That was good cricket from the batsman. He placed it, didn't try to hit it too hard.
Steered expertly into the gap. Stopped in the covers. Stopped by Bevan. Harvey to Cairns. That's cleared the boundary. 6 runs. They were diving for cover with that one.
What an effortless shot. Brilliant.
Over the top and away for 4. Cairns moves into double figures with those runs. That's the halfway mark. 25 overs. Australia are making a change in the bowling. The required run rate is around 5 and over. Fleming is now facing. He's got it into the gap. The batsmen are looking for 2. The sweeper picks up. Now he needs to get his head down again and aim for the next landmark. That's 100 for Fleming. Short and cut away for 4 by Fleming. He picked the length quickly with that one.
He dispatched that short ball with a certain amount of disdain.
Lee to Fleming. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 5 and over. New Zealand have taken their total on to 4 for 211. Hit straight to a fielder. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Harvey to bowl to Cairns. That was athletic fielding by Hayden. That's gone high in the air. That was a superb placement.
The bowler didn't do too much wrong there. It was just an excellent shot.
That's gone way into the stands. 6 runs. Harvey won't like that at all.
The fielder just watched it. Going, going, going.
Harvey continues.
No!
That's 4 more. Cairns has now moved into the 20s. 15 runs came from that over for New Zealand. Lee to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 4.5 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Lee to Cairns.
Waiting!
That's gone high in the air. A good catch from Harvey. That's the first runs of the day for Styrus. The batsmen are coming back for a second. Bevan cuts that off. The batsmen are in trouble here. That's a superb throw. Styrus goes for only 1.
Well, it wasn't the longest innings ever, and certainly not the highest score in the world.
Adams comes in at number 8. Adams takes guard. Brilliant catch. Adams is out for duck. Adams makes his way back to the dressing room. Harris takes his place at the crease.
No!
22 overs are left for New Zealand. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 5 and over.
Yeah!
Batsmen are looking for 3. And never looked like being a run there.
Dreadful judgment by the two batsmen. The captain won't be pleased about that.
No! 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 No!
It's in the air. They hardly seem to hit that, yet it sailed over the ropes.
The bowler won't like that one little bit.
There it goes, right out of the ground. They hardly seem to hit that, yet it sailed over the ropes.
What an effortless shot. Brilliant.
21 overs are left in the innings. Lee to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 4.5 and over.
Yes!
The batsmen are coming back for a second. Trouble here. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Lee continues. Well, that'll beat the fielder. That's the first boundary for Vettori. Vettori is now on strike. That's gone high in the air. Vittori has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. Pushed into the gap. There's a mix-up with the batsman. I think he was easily back in the crease there. That's the end of the 30th over. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 4 and over. There it goes. Amazing catch.
That was a lazy shot. He didn't get over it at all.
Fleming eventually goes for no 8. Fleming is getting a standing ovation. That's the first runs of the day for Tuffy. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Good stroke for 4. That's the first boundary for Tuffy. Lee continues. Hit straight to a fielder. Lee was unlucky there. Tuffy facing his first ball. The required run rate is around 4 and over. That's gone high in the air. Great stop. Harvey at the start of his run-up. New Zealand move on to 260. Well, that's found the gap in the field. New Zealand move on to 261. Played into the gap. Batsmen are coming back for 2. There's a mix-up with the batsman. Vittori waiting at the striker's end. A nice shot, but it won't make it to the boundary. He's worked that into the gap. "17 overs are left in the innings. Tuffy awaits his first ball. The run rate stands at just under 4 and over. He's got it into the gap. That takes him into double figures. Fielded by Hayden.
Waiting.
Lee at the start of his run-up.
Waiting.
Play it away with comfort.
Waiting.
It's straight at Hayden. Tuffy is now on strike.
Run.
He's got that away for what looks like 4 runs. Tuffy is looking to punish any short deliveries.
Well, that was a pretty poor delivery. It just sat up and asked to be smashed.
No. No.
We're going to see the leg spinner worn. Now the run rate stands at just over 4 and over.
Waiting. Wait.
Beautiful shot. That was 4 the moment it left his back.
Really good shot there. Nicely timed and picked the gap perfectly.
Waiting.
Steered expertly into the gap.
Yeah.
The batsmen are looking for 3. Fielded in the deep by Hayden.
Wait.
Great shot by Tuffy. Tuffy has now moved into the 20s. The batsmen are coming back for a second. Vittori is now facing.
Go. Yes. Go.
That's the end of the 35th over. Tuffy takes his place at the crease. The run rate stands at just under 3.5 and over. Steered expertly into the gap. Vittori is now on strike.
Go. Yeah. Go.
So they need 54 to win from 88 balls.
Waiting.
Pushed into the gap. Tuffy is now on strike.
Wait. Yeah.
Pushed into the gap.
Go. Go.
Warren to bowl his leg spin. The required run rate has crept up to around 3.5 and over.
Wait.
The
Yeah.
fielder will cut that off. That's straight up in the air. Great shot by Vittori. You can't afford to bowl at him there.
That was a really good shot. He looks in top form out there.
New Zealand 9 for 292.
Waiting! No!
Hayden just picks that up inside the rope. Warren at the start of his run-up.
No! No! No!
13 overs are left in the innings. Lee to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 3 and over. Ooh, that looked quite nasty.
The batsman can't have any complaints about that. That's international cricket.
Lee continues. Vittori is now facing. So to sum up then, Australia win by 44 runs.